In the first part of our preview of the Math Galaxy Word Problems Fun game, we looked at beginner mazes. And in this continuation, we'll be looking at intermediate mazes and advanced mazes, starting with the intermediate. And we'll choose 4-player. And in this part of the preview, we're going to be focused more on the types of problems. If you remember in the first preview, we did one-digit wholes, multi-step, fractions, and time. So let's say here red chooses ratios and proportions, green chooses percents, blue chooses negative numbers, and yellow chooses graphs and tables. Okay, so green spins, and so green chose percents. You want to have some paper and pencil handy to work these problems, but here we'll use some shortcuts to save some time. So 673.38 divided by 0.86 equals, and that was just a shortcut of the cross multiplication solution. Remember, for percents, part is to whole as percent is to 100, or is to of as percent is to 100. Okay, so, and here's one of the types mazes in intermediate. Intermediate mazes are as wide as beginner mazes, but twice as high. So we're not going to spend much time on getting all the treasure, but the robot has to collect the treasure and get out before being destroyed by the creatures. Okay, so now blue's turn. So as a reminder, this is sort of like Monopoly, where if you solve the math problem and get the treasure in a cave, you own it, and then you get $1,000 for the cave. And any player who lands on one of your caves has to pay $1,000 times the number of caves that you own. So this looks like blue chose negative numbers. So we start out with 84. It dropped 29, and then rose 39. Okay, and then you get some explanations of what's going on. So 84 degrees, it's like going from 0 to 84, then down 29, then up 39. Let's see what type of maze. Oh, so it's like the last one. And yellow chose graphs and tables. So here, this is a pictograph where each bicycle counts, or each of these symbols counts for 100 bicycles. So to the nearest 25, how many more bicycles were sold in Ohio than California? Okay. Well, we don't actually have to calculate them. All we know that it's a quarter of a bicycle more. And a quarter of that is 25. Okay, and so another type of maze. So the creatures are smarter than others. and red. Okay, so red is doing proportions. So if you can go 28 miles in 4 hours, how many miles can you go in 30.4 hours? So we can do this as a rate, and here the numbers are easy. 28 miles in 4 hours means 7 miles per hour. And then times the number of hours, 30.4. Okay, and this shows it as in standard proportion form, solving by cross multiplication. So if you remember for proportions, so you have two names, so miles and hours, and they're just like equivalent fractions. Twice the hours is going to be twice the miles, and this is solved by cross multiplication. Okay, another of the type of caves. So those were examples of intermediate mazes with ratio and proportion, percent, negative number, and graph and table problems. Now for the advanced mazes, let's try length, area, volume, and angles. So red goes first, and so red is doing length. So, well, this is an easy one. 2 inches. Okay. And the advanced mazes are twice as wide as beginner mazes and twice as high. So again, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on actually collecting the treasure, but you can get an idea of how the level of difficulty increases. Actually, since we've done most of it, let's finish this one. Oops, almost. Okay, now green. Let's see. So green is doing area. So triangles, 1/2 base times height, or you could just sort of figure it out how many half triangles here. So that's 1, and no, actually we may have to do a calculation. So these two make 1 square. This is 3 by 4, 12, that gives you 6, so it should be a total of 7. Okay, so if some of the mazes that are easy in the smaller sizes can become hard as you get to the larger mazes. So like on this one, because you don't always know which direction to go if you don't have it full screen. So let's, whoops, like that. You can see blue is, okay, so that's red's cave. So blue had to pay red $1,000, but now it can go into a new part of the cave. Okay, so blue is doing volume. So rule is for figures with a uniform cross section, it's the area of the cross section times the length. The area of the cross section here is that of a triangle. So 1/2 12 times 16, so 6 times 16 times times 15. Okay, and then you get the explanations. Okay, so again, the caves are created randomly within certain patterns. So there are 12 basic types of caves, but within those types, each is created randomly. So let's go look at yellow's problems. Okay, so yellow is doing angles. So the angles have to sum to 180, so 180 minus 31 should be 149. Oh, same type cave. Okay. Let's do a few more rounds. Maybe we'll see some more types of problems and caves. Okay, so round to nearest 100. So 500. Okay, so red was doing length. So again, you get graphical illustrations and explanations. Okay, so again, another standard type maze. Okay, so this one doesn't look too bad. And even getting out, not too difficult. Oh. Now green's turn. Okay, so this is area. So area of a parallelogram is base times height, but you have to use the vertical height. So it's 6 by 5. So the blue is 30, and we take away, this is 2, so it should be 28. So again, another of the standard mazes. Okay, and blue. Okay, so this is a volume problem. So it's 3 centimeters times what times 9 times that will give us 270. So we're solving for a multiple, which is a division problem. And we divide by 3 and 9, so let's divide by 27. So again, the explanation. And so here we're just looking at the types of problems. We're not going to work on collecting all the treasure. So again, yellow doing angle problems. So by vertical angles, this is 32 degrees. And since these two have to sum to 90, the missing angle should be 58. Okay, and that was the same cave that blue was just in. So that's probably enough to give you an overview of the whole number word problem game. Thank you for listening.